Todd and Julie Chrisley reunited after years in prison. Chrisley Knows Best stars Todd and Julie Chrisley are finally reunited after entering federal prison in 2023. Savannah Chrisley has been advocating for her parents to be released since the beginning. After more than 2 years in separate prisons, and even in separate states, they are finally being reunited. Savannah has been giving updates to fans on social media. Keep reading to find out more. Todd and Julie Chrisley together once again. Chrisley Knows Best husband and wife, Todd and Julie Chrisley, are finally free after their daughter worked tirelessly advocating on their behalf. President Trump officially gave them a complete and unconditional pardon on Wednesday, May 28. The two were convicted in late 2022 for fraud and tax evasion. They were sentenced to a combined total of 19 years in prison. They were denied their appeals, but recently were given a small break in their sentences. However, Savannah still advocated and pleaded for President Trump to pardon them. After the pardon was signed and made official on Wednesday, Todd Chrisley was the first of the two to be released from prison. Later that same evening, Julie Chrisley was also released. The couple got to finally see one another and were face-to-face on Thursday. Not only had Todd and Julie not seen one another in 2 years, but they also were not allowed to speak. Savannah was the middleman and relayed messages back and forth between her mom and dad. Savannah captured the moment on camera, and while fans can't see her face, they can see both Todd and Julie's legs, and they are seated facing each other. The photo said, "Reunited, and it feels so good." So far, Todd and Julie's faces have not been revealed. Chances are the couple wants to freshen up and get reacquainted with their family. More about their release. When Chrisley Knows Best star Todd Chrisley was released from prison Wednesday evening, Savannah shared a video on Instagram saying how jacked he is. Todd has apparently been working out while passing the time in prison. Savannah revealed that at first, her parents didn't believe it. The pardon seemed to come out of nowhere. President Trump says, based on what he heard, the couple was treated rather harshly. Savannah said, "Over the past 24 hours, I've gotten so much love and so much hate. And I've had people say, I wonder what she had to do to get this pardon. I didn't have to do anything other than stand firm in my beliefs and my convictions, and fight for my parents, and fight for what was right. The family has a lot of time to make up for, and will no doubt be doing that over the coming days." Fans can't wait to see and hear more from Todd and Julie Chrisley when they are ready to talk to the public. The Georgia sun had barely begun to rise, casting long golden streaks across the dew-kissed grass of the sprawling countryside estate. The air was heavy with anticipation, not from paparazzi or news crews, but from a quiet sort of hope that had been building for years behind prison walls and courtroom headlines. Todd Chrisley stood in the center of the driveway, his once perfectly styled blonde hair now grayer, slightly thinner, but still gelled back with pride. He wore a crisp white shirt and khakis, ironed meticulously, of course. The look on his face was unreadable, a tightrope walk between apprehension and joy. For once, the king of sass had no words. Then came the rumble of tires on gravel. A black SUV, humble and nondescript, pulled up the long drive. The moment it stopped, the back door opened. Out stepped Julie Chrisley, her frame slimmer, her eyes a touch wearier, but unmistakably her. Her honey blonde hair was pulled into a low ponytail, and her soft smile trembled as she saw him. "Todd," she said, as if unsure if she was dreaming. For a moment, "Jules," he breathed, stood still. Taking a cautious step. There had been letters, heavily redacted phone calls, and distant court updates. But nothing could prepare them for the overwhelming realness of this moment. Years apart, years behind cold walls and steel bars, years of regret and resilience, now melting away with every inch they closed between them. Julie dropped her small overnight bag and ran into his arms. Todd caught her in a tight embrace, eyes glistening. "You smell like that lavender lotion you always wore," he whispered into her hair. "I made them special order it at the commissary," she said with a soft laugh through her tears. They held each other for a long while. No guards, no shackles, no schedules. Just Todd and Julie, the way they were meant to be, flawed, humbled, but together again. Inside the house, newly redecorated by Savannah during their absence, the walls were a mix of fresh beginnings and family memories. Photos of Grayson and Chloe lined the mantel. A portrait of them all, taken in simpler days, hung in the entryway like a silent witness to everything they had lost, and now possibly regained. "I thought I'd never see this place again," Julie said, walking slowly through the living room, fingertips grazing the edge of a marble coffee table. "I had Savannah ship me photos," Todd replied, "every week. I'd take them to the wall next to my bunk. The guard said I turned my cell into a southern living spread." Julie chuckled. "Sounds like you." Todd took her hand and guided her into the kitchen. A pot of decaf coffee was already brewing. "I know it's not your vanilla latte, but I figured baby steps." She smiled. "After prison coffee, this is heaven." As they sat at the island, sipping quietly, the conversation turned deeper. "Do you think we're the same people?" Julie asked. Todd looked down at his mug. "No, and thank God for that. The old us, we were wrapped up in appearances, money, perfection. But the real us, the ones who made it through this, we're raw, we're real, and I think we're better." Julie nodded slowly. "I missed birthdays. I missed Chloe's school recital. I missed holding your hand at night." Todd reached for her fingers, gently lacing them through his. "But you never missed me." "Not once. I felt you every day." Tears spilled down Julie's cheeks. Outside, birds chirped with reckless optimism. Inside, the Chrisleys were quietly redefining the meaning of family. That evening, the family gathered for dinner, Savannah at the stove, Grayson setting the table, and Chloe bouncing around in a pink tutu talking about her ballet class. Julie sat at the head of the table, eyes full of wonder. "I don't even know how to thank you all." Savannah wiped her hands on a towel. "You don't have to. We just wanted you both home." Todd pulled out his phone. "All right, y'all. Group selfie time." First night of the Chrisley comeback tour. Everyone groaned and laughed, falling into position. The photo captured something no court case, no prison sentence, no tabloid could ever erase: unity. Later that night, after the kids went to bed, Todd and Julie sat on the porch swing under a canopy of stars. "You know," Todd mused, "I used to think our legacy was our TV show. The houses, the fame. But now I think, maybe it's surviving." Julie leaned into him. "Surviving and choosing to love each other after the worst." He nodded. "Exactly." A moment of silence passed before Julie asked, "Do you ever think people will forgive us?" Todd sighed. "Some won't, and that's okay. What matters is whether we forgive ourselves and each other." Julie reached into her sweater pocket and pulled out a tiny folded note. "I wrote this to myself 2 years ago. It says, 'One day you'll be sitting beside Todd again. Don't forget to smile.'" Todd blinked hard. "Jules." "I never stopped believing we'd come home," she said, slipping the note into his hand. The swing creaked softly as they rocked side by side, no longer prisoners of steel bars or public opinion, but free in the truest sense. Not because they were perfect, but because they were together. And sometimes that's the greatest redemption of all.